Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Mario Fatemi. As we get into this next segment here, we're going to take a look at the Phoenix Suns with everything that's been transpiring with them over the last 24 hours. Obviously, Mike Budenholzer released as the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, the third straight head coach that the Phoenix Suns have fired since the 2020, not only in the last 3 years, but three over the last 4 years since they made an NBA Finals berth. And this one probably the most shocking, the most not only shocking, but one of the more disappointing teams this season, with how everything's transpired with them, with how they've gone from playoff contenders, a team that can kind of compete with anybody in the Western Conference, to this year a team that's kind of just been, I won't call them lackadaisical, but a team that hasn't played up to their potential whatsoever with the amount of money, effort, and time they put into building this roster, to getting the guys that players wanted around each other. This is the end result, and it's honestly, is this year's Phoenix Suns the most, are the Phoenix Suns this year the most disappointing team in NBA history? Valid question. We're going to get into all of that very shortly. But before I move any further, I like to remind you guys to please like and follow the show for more GSMC Sports Network content. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask that you use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net for your questions. This puts your question at the top of the list so I see it, and it also really helps out the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net for all your questions and comments. And I've said it before, your guys' input helps us figure out what to talk about. You guys letting us know what you guys like to hear. Give any feedback in general, good or bad. Lets us know what you guys want to hear, what you guys want us to talk about, and we base our shows around you guys. So your input is incredibly valuable, and we appreciate everything that you guys say. So please leave any questions or comments at gsmcpodcast.net for those. But getting right back into it here, obviously, I mentioned at the top of the show, Mike Budenholzer fired as the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, the third straight year, with a new head coach coming, or third year in a row with a firing in Phoenix. The Phoenix Suns will be back in the market looking for a new head coach, in a market that's there's not that many candidates this year for head coaching prospects. But obviously Mike Malone, but outside of Mike Malone, who will be sought out by a lot of people, it's just not a very deep one. So, but getting back to the topic at hand, obviously the Phoenix Suns going with the record of 36-46 this season, 10-18 after the All-Star break, one of the highest payrolls in NBA history. It's just unfortunate to see what's gone on with this team. Trading a haul for Bradley Beal. Devin Booker has been there for years, but Kevin Durant being traded here last season at the end of the trade deadline from the Brooklyn Nets. And it just looks like that trade is not transpiring the way everybody thought it would. It's just not. From injuries to just kind of not a locker room. I wouldn't call him an issue in the locker room, but it's safe to say that Kevin Durant has not showed up to his capabilities. He has not continued to be the type of player, the type of leader that we expect him to be with his veteran experience, continuing to galvanize the troops, grow the younger generation, mentor the young rookies on this team. He just hasn't done a lot of that. He's just been kind of one of those guys that just shows up, comes to work, scores 25 to 30 points a night, and then leaves. That's pretty much what it feels like. And I apologize if that sounds a little bit too harsh, but it's just what it feels like Kevin Durant has been this season. And he's not, we've heard it time and time again, he's just not typically heard. He's not typically seen as a leader in the locker room from the media transport, from a media standpoint, from a fan standpoint. We just haven't seen. We haven't heard quotes from him about. We haven't heard anything from younger players. We just haven't. I don't know. We just haven't really heard him as a leader for this team or for any team that he's really been on. But it's just unfortunate for Kevin Durant because this will most likely taint his resume a little bit, his legacy, as he looks to not only retire over the next few years, with only a couple years left on his in his career, approaching the age of 40, but as he looks to honestly hold a legacy as one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen in the NBA. Kevin Durant is easily a top 5 scorer, top 10 scorer we've seen in the NBA ever. He should go down as one of the top 10 players of all time. Honestly, if it wasn't for some of these last few years, from when he left Golden State for Brooklyn, when he left Brooklyn now for Phoenix, if it wasn't for those 2 pit stops, I think if he had just stayed in Golden State with Steph Curry, not only would they have won more championships, he would still be remembered as one of the best players we've ever seen. And from people that watched him play, from people knowledgeable fans that have watched the game for a while, have watched him grow as a player, continue to play, seen all his years from Oklahoma City till now. We all know what he was when he was in Oklahoma City. We know what he was when he was in Golden State, and now when he's now in Phoenix, it's just unfortunate to see. It's unfortunate what has transpired with him, and yeah, I just think his legacy will not be looked at the same by most NBA fans that just kind of watch the game from afar. They will see this Kevin Durant. They will hate him for how he's kind of just been underwhelming over these last 5 to 6 years. I know he was injured in 2019, but since 2021, when they should have won the title in 2021, when his foot was on the line against the Milwaukee Bucks, when he was half an inch away from sending the Brooklyn Nets to the conference finals, that is the Brooklyn Nets. That is the Kevin Durant that we're all going to remember. The Kevin Durant that was swept by the Boston Celtics. The Kevin Durant that has been underwhelming these last 2 years, and now this year completely missing the playoffs. I believe 2023 he was injured in the playoffs, if I remember correctly. I believe that's true. I think that's right. But yeah, that's just the state of the affair. That's the state of affairs in Phoenix right now. What do they look to do to kind of clean up this mess? I don't think the Suns can trade Devin Booker. Devin Booker's kind of their franchise player, a player that's a fan favorite in Phoenix. A lot of fans love him. He's a cornerstone of the franchise. He's been there for 8 years plus. They love him. He's been there through thick and thin, and to trade Devin Booker would be, unless Devin Booker requests a trade out, would be just an aberration. It would be an uproar similar to how, not even similar, because I guess similar to how the Dallas Mavericks fans responded to Nico Harrison trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers this midseason. That is what Suns fans would say about Devin Booker being traded. So I don't think that's going to happen, but Kevin Durant could easily get traded. We've seen the Houston Rockets name get passed around. Most of the basketball world is hoping he can go back to Oklahoma City to join Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to not only win a championship in Oklahoma City, but kind of just go back to his roots and retire there, because he doesn't have that many years left in his career as he approaches the age of 40 years old. I believe he's 36 or 37 years old now. He's just getting up there with age, so it's just becoming more of a reality, as we're seeing with LeBron James, as we're seeing from Steph Curry, and it's just the process of getting old. So we've all wanted him to go to Oklahoma City. We've seen Houston Rockets name passed around. There is a real reality where he could retire after this season, just to kind of call it quits. He just doesn't especially after these last 2 years. It's kind of tough to continue that momentum, continue that will to play after these last few years of just disappointment, not living up to expectations, and just overall how he's being seen from the media standpoint and beyond from there. But yeah, I think a KD trade would kind of help this team if they can get some assets back for KD. I don't think they can trade Bradley Beal, especially with Bradley Beal's no trade clause. He would have to waive his no trade clause, and Bradley Beal has said over the last not only few months, but in general, he said, I don't really want to leave Phoenix. He's pretty adamant that he wants to stay there for at least the immediate future. But I think Devin Booker being traded would be the wrong way to go in terms of continuing to grow the franchise, continuing to market them. It would just be the wrong move from that perspective. But yeah, this Phoenix Suns team has just not been what we expected them to be, and I'm going to leave it on that note. But I'm going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're not hosting, but they're going up against the Los Angeles Lakers in a first round matchup come Saturday, which is going to be a massive game. Can Anthony Edwards will the Timberwolves pass the Lakers in the first round? I'm going to get into all of that in the next segment. I'm going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at Anthony Edwards.